logically, I hope you will see in a moment if this is not familiar with you, I should have actually started even before the other Christian speakers. Why? Because the origins of Nostra Aetate are not a desire of the bishops of the Second Vatican Council to address the relationship between the Church and world faiths. The origins of Nostra Aetate are the result of Pope John the 23rd, Angelo Roncalli, to whom Dr. Samak referred to at length, his charge to Cardinal Augustin Bea to address the relationship of the Church with the Jewish people, De Judaeis. Why? This was overwhelmingly the impact of the Shoah, of the Holocaust. The Holocaust was overwhelmingly a Jewish tragedy, but it was substantially a Christian scandal. Why was it a Christian scandal? Because it was perpetrated by overwhelmingly baptized Christians in ostensibly Christian lands. Of course, the Shoah was, as Pope Benedict XVI has described it, a pagan enterprise. But it couldn't have succeeded to the degree it did with the extermination of 6 million Jews if the land had not been tilled over centuries with what was called the teaching of contempt. The teaching of contempt was the predominant attitude within the Christian world that says the Jews were rejected by God, indeed even cursed by God, condemned to wander. Indeed, they were the enemies of God, therefore in league with the devil. They were diabolical, and therefore they deserved everything they got. And they were condemned to wander. That kind of theology created the sense of dehumanization of the Jew that facilitated the enormity of the tragedy. Now, in the context of those tragedies, there were remarkable individuals, and Angelo Roncalli was one of those most outstanding saintly people, who not only was one of the first to know of the Nazi extermination machine, but also saved thousands when he was the legate in Turkey, and as Dr. Samak referred to. And this moved him deeply, and therefore, when he convened this aggiornamento, updating of the church, as Father Neuhaus so beautifully recalled, open up the windows, let the air in, let the light in, one of the things he wanted to address was precisely the relationship with the Jewish people. And his famous meeting with the great French Jewish historian Jules Isaac confirmed that determination, and he gave the task to Cardinal Bea. But there was opposition to this desire on the church to change its attitude towards the Jews. And the opposition not only came from the arch-conservative elements who believed the Jews really were condemned and didn't want to let them off the hook, but it was also rejected and fearfully by bishops within the Muslim world who were worried this would be seen as a political statement on the situation in the Middle East. And it was also opposed by those in the Far East from lands where Jews didn't even feature on the radar screen. Why be so obsessed with the Jews? What about our relationship with Hindus? What about our relationship with Buddhists? So there was a fascinating irony here. Nostra Aetate reflects the desire of elements within a church, above all John the 23rd and Cardinal Bea, to address their relationship to the Jewish people, but it was only possible for them to do so if they address the relationship of the church with Islam, with the religions of the East, with the world faiths. So in order to address its relationship with Judaism, the church came to address its relationship with the rest of the world. That itself is fascinating. But conversely, the other side of the coin is that through desiring to be able to address its relationship with Israel, with the Jewish people, it came to address its relationship with the faiths of the world, so it facilitated it at the same time. Now, Nostra Aetate, this particular section that related to the Jewish people, said 4 things. People focus on 3 of these, and they are all remarkable, but they are not at all new, contrary to many public misconceptions. First of all, it said any idea to condemn the Jews, as Dr. Samak referred to, as collectively guilty for the death of Jesus, even at the time, let alone in perpetuity, is wrong. The Council of Trent had said that 400 years earlier. But of course, nevertheless, in practice, Christian teaching continued very often to ignore what the Council of Trent had said and continued to see the Jews as collectively guilty. So it was important to state it, that the Jews, therefore, were not to be seen as responsible, even if this was not already anyway official Catholic teaching. Second thing, it spoke of the covenant between God and the Jewish people being an eternal covenant. That in itself was not necessarily positive, because St. Augustine had already said, the Jews remain precisely in their homelessness and humiliation to prove what happens to you when you do not accept the truth of Christianity. And therefore the eternity of the covenant could be seen quite negatively. Indeed, even the condemnation of anti-Semitism, which is there within Nostra Aetate, was not in itself new. There had been condemnation of anti-Semitism. The big change is precisely saying it is wrong to see the Jews as condemned and as rejected. To affirm, therefore, a positive attitude that the Jews have a part and therefore a significant role in the divine plan for humanity. That was not just a revolution. It was a Copernican revolution. It was an absolute turn of the whole approach of the church on its head as to how to view the Jewish people, so that we come to a situation today where John Paul II can visit a synagogue in Rome in 1986 and say that the Jewish people is not only the dearly beloved elder brother of the church, but has a relationship with Judaism which is intrinsic to its identity, a relationship like it can have with no other religion because it's the very foundation, therefore, of Christian identity, and to affirm this unique positive relationship. That's quite remarkable. It's very interesting that Pope Benedict XVI went one stage further and said, maybe we shouldn't call the Jews the elder brother, because if you read the Hebrew Bible and you read the book of Genesis, the elder brother in the stories doesn't normally come out on top. He normally gets the rough end of the wedge, and therefore, better to talk of parents in faith. And now, of course, we have Pope Francis, who can affirm categorically what already was said by John Paul II, that anti-Semitism is a sin against God and man, but says even more, it's just not possible to be a real Christian and be an anti-Semite. That therefore the love of the Jewish people is intrinsic to the very nature of what Christianity has to be. This is an unparalleled revolution in human history. Father Neuhaus again referred to it as one of the most significant changes of the 20th century. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg to claim that there is nothing comparable to this transformation in human history. To have seen a particular people as condemned, rejected by God, in league with the devil yesterday, and today as a dearly beloved elder brother of the church, of an eternal covenant intrinsic to the very nature of the church, nothing comparable in human history. This has an enormously significant universal message. If such a relationship that was so chronic, so poisoned, so negative, can be transformed to be so positive and so constructive today, there is no relationship that is beyond transformation. No matter how poisoned, how problematic, how vitiated it may be by politics, no relationship is beyond positive transformation. And that, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, is the real inspiring message of Nostra Aetate. Everything is really possible. We can transform it all, and we can turn our world into the kind of world our religions teach it really should be. And if I may say so, I think that this very institution is a reflection precisely of that message. At any rate, that is the challenge for this institution, to bring about the realization of that message. Thank you.